angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our worth of stone or ashes, and we both passed on. Let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. So had a little bit of weather excitement, but I think we're going to be in the clear now. Tornado sirens went off twice, not once, but twice. I believe that we were really only under threat once, but it was a little bit to the north of us, so I wasn't too concerned with it. So nonetheless, the worst of it, I think, is past, and it looks like the only little band that would get us is kind of breaking up now. So, but there's more to the southwest that's coming towards us, moving, of course, northeast. So, wow. So I've got an interesting topic to talk about today, and it's a very serious one. It's a extremely serious topic, and I really hope people pay close attention, because I really think we're going to see this fan out. I am also going to be, and I normally don't play videos in the monologue, but I will be playing a video today for the monologue, because this gentleman, you know, I don't always necessarily agree with him on his political, social stances and stuff like that, but I always keep an open mind with this guy, because once in a while, it's not necessarily that he's wrong. Maybe there's some hard truths that I just don't want to face myself. So I always keep an open mind. Before we get to that, though, let me go ahead and run over the normal stuff. I did a happy dance this morning, I'm telling you. Amazon affiliate. Somebody had made a nice purchase using our link. Bumped us up. We were at like $22 and some odd cents. Now we are at $41.41. So thank you very much to whoever that was. It doesn't tell me who buys what. It will tell me what was purchased, and that was it. So whoever it was got themselves one heck of a nice looking swing here. So a hammock chair swing. So thank you very, very much for that. It definitely bumped us up rather nicely, and it's much appreciated. And all of that goes back into the show. One way or another, it goes back into the show. Whether it's getting supplies and me doing do-it-yourself type of videos, how-to type of videos, or whether it's for getting equipment or whatever, it will one way or another benefit the show, with the exception of this past one. The first payment that we got that went to buy more Kratom. So, anyway, again, I thank you very much. If you do use Amazon and you're so inspired to use our link, you can find it in the description of the videos, or you can go to thewatchmannews.com, and there's search boxes there. You can type what you're looking for in the search box, click go, and you're on your way. That will give us credit for that sale. And again, it's much appreciated. If you would like to show your support for us, because we are not YouTube supported, we voluntarily demonetized from YouTube some months ago. If you would like to show support to us in another way, you can do so through PayPal. You don't have to have a PayPal account to do it. You can either go to thewatchmannews.com/donate, or you can go to the website here, thewatchmannews.com, click the donate button. That will automatically forward you to our PayPal donation page. And it will say Transforming Disabilities, but it will give the purpose the Watchman News donation. So anything is very, very much appreciated. Again, we got away from the YouTube monetization. At one time on the website, we did have Google Ads. We got away from that. We totally got rid of our Google AdSense account. Our AdSense account is absolutely no more. So, again, much appreciated. Okay, I didn't get a lot done on the front end of the website today. I did do a little bit on the new website, the health website. I did do a little bit. I did a lot in the back end. I did a whole lot in the back end again today. So I'm going to get that banner up above the menu. I just got to fight with it to get it up there. So I've got quite a bit of work to do. Again, we're waiting to be able to purchase, because we don't have the money right this moment to purchase the packaging. We need to get some more capsules in stock, because we're going to use different colors for each different kind that we have. We're going to use different colored capsules. So we have to get labels, packaging, some more capsules, and seemed like there was one other thing that we needed to get. Oh, I would like to get at least one more strain in stock before we go nuts here. So I'd like to start out with at least 3 strains to be able to offer you right from the beginning. And we're going to build it. We're going to build up. So we're gonna put as many different products as we can out there, both in capsule and powder form, as well as I'm going to design up some, probably design some neat T-shirts and coffee mugs and whatnot for merchandise. And that'll be all on here. You'll be able to get to that location. I will have a menu. It's already set up. I just got to click a button. There'll be a menu item right here from the regular website that will take you over to the health side of the website, because technically they are 2 different websites, but they're within the same. They're all more or less within thewatchmannews.com. This is just health.thewatchmannews.com. So it's just what they call a subdomain, that's all. So anyway, just wanted to give you a little update on that. As far as any other updates beyond that, I really don't know of any. It was really nice to spend yet another day without living in pain. It's amazing. It is incredible, the difference that Kratom makes. And I'm not saying that to try to get people to buy a product or anything like that. I would suggest, if you deal with pain, chronic pain, I would suggest you try Kratom, no matter where you get it from, as long as it's a reputable source that has a true unadulterated product. I would highly recommend you give it a shot. It is amazing. I never thought I would be able to live without that just agonizing nonstop pain, without going to pharmaceuticals. So I'm thrilled. We wouldn't be so motivated to get this other website built and to offer to everybody, because I know the only company I can speak of is to the one company that we bought it from, and I know it's good product. So I'm not saying any of the other companies are bad. They're probably just fine. But I can speak to this company. It's an incredible product. The only catch is they don't offer it in capsules. So we're going to fix that. We're going to offer you that same product in a capsule as well as in powder form. So look forward to that coming very soon. My target is within 2 weeks to have that site up and running. And I'm thinking we might be able to beat that, but that's my target, is within 2 weeks. I'm going to try my hardest to do it within 1. So anyway, let's get on to the topic of discussion. So obviously you're probably aware of the craziness that is Venezuela and all of that going on today. Now, that really had no bearing on this topic. In fact, I didn't even know of or start following what was going on in Venezuela today until after I had already thought about this topic and wanted to discuss it with you. So I've been giving a few different warnings over time. For one, keep a close eye on the weather. Next year, the weather is just going to be insane. But I've also been telling you to keep an eye on different events. I've been talking about watch for a pickup in like church attacks and stuff like that. And I'm talking right here on U.S. soil. Folks, and I'm naming it. I'm actually naming it. The only thing I have written down on a piece of paper is what I am naming this summer, and I am naming it the Summer of Terror. Because you mark my words, we are going to see things that you would never believe would come to this country. I guarantee it. And I'm not trying to fearmonger people. I'm just being straight with you. With the climate of everything going on, the political climate just here within the borders of the United States of America is horrid, okay? But with what's going on abroad, it makes it even worse. And I really suspect that we're going to see a lot of craziness go on. Karma is, in my opinion, a real thing. And the U.S. has a lot of karma coming its way. A lot of karma coming its way. This, with what's going on in Venezuela, is not any better because we're the ones largely behind that. And I don't see Venezuela giving in. I don't see Russia removing their backing or China removing their backing of Venezuela. And I would say the chances of that turning into a hot war is very likely. Very likely. Of course, they had an attempt at a coup today. That largely failed. I've been watching social media, was involved in somewhat of a discussion on social media. But I'll tell you what, there's some brainwashed folks out there. Look, folks, to speak to Venezuela for a moment, these people down there largely support their legitimate president, Maduro, okay? Largely. Now, this is proven because any time that you have these uprisings, right, in support of Guaido, you don't see a mass amount of people. You see small amounts of people, okay? That's not a majority in favor of Guaido. It's not. Plain and simple. There is so much propaganda going on about Venezuela, it's unreal. You hear about how people are starving, how they're destitute, how they're living in squalor. Look at the videos. There's a fair amount of overweight people. You don't see any of them that look like they're starving. They're wearing rather nice clothes. They're clean clothes. They look like pretty well taken care of people. Don't trust the media. Do not trust the media. Trust what you can see for yourself. And you can watch video clips for yourself. Trust that. Don't trust, the craziness. Now, I do know that there was a military truck that had ran over some of the people there in Venezuela. Now, that's not a good thing. That is absolutely not a good thing. I don't know exactly all of the circumstances surrounding that. I know one person had mentioned on Facebook in conversation that it looked like maybe he was trying to protect another one of the trucks. So, I'm definitely not condoning those type of actions. Remember that karma thing, right? We got to watch what we support because then we can't complain when it comes back on us, right? So, that includes being okay with people running over protesters, which is essentially kind of the same thing as what went down there. You can't complain if you support the idea of them running over people protesting for, somebody, an unarmed black man gets shot and they're out there protesting and they're in the road and somebody gets run over and you got people cheering, yeah, right? Well, don't you complain when you're out there trying to save your Second Amendment from the gun grabbers and you're out there and you're in the street protesting and your crew gets run over. Don't complain. Don't complain. We have to be mindful of that. What we allow to happen to others will eventually happen to us. Okay? You don't have to agree with what they stand for. That's perfectly fine. Okay? But they have a right to stand for it. Most anything in this country, people have a right to stand for, with the exception of some certain things. This whole thing with socialism, I don't think people have a right to stand for that. Okay, because in order to adopt socialism, you would have to subvert the Constitution. Okay, you would have to be treasonous against the very ideals that founded this country, which makes no sense. That's kind of like, cutting off your own food supply. So there are a few things that I don't think are up for discussion, and those would be things involving the Constitution. I don't think the Second Amendment should be up for discussion. That should have been nipped in the bud a long time ago. Shall not be infringed. It's plain and simple, right? Neither should the First Amendment. Okay, you shouldn't have people even trying to shut other people up just because they disagree with your viewpoints. That's not cool. That's not cool. And it's anti-American, it's unconstitutional. Plain and simple. You either stand with the Constitution or you don't. I see a lot of people that claim they stand with the Constitution, but they really only stand for what they believe in. So it is what it is. And that is part of what's leading up to this environment that's going to cause some of these activities that I'm speaking of. And I do expect to see this happen largely this summer in the United States. I see that we are going to see, and I'm going to call it acts of terrorism. We can play with words all day long, but I'm just going to say acts of terrorism. I think you can expect to see it from both domestic fronts and from foreign fronts here in the United States on our soil. Okay? Now I'm going to play a video. I told you about a video that I'm going to play. Now this comes from a channel called Beau of the Fifth Column. And this guy, I'll tell you what, he's a very, very well thought out man. Again, I don't always align with him, especially on some social issues and stuff like that, but that isn't necessarily saying that he's wrong and that I'm right. Maybe he comes from a different viewpoint, a different standpoint. But he's not going to be discussing that stuff in this video. What he's going to be discussing is a lie that we have all been told. Okay? We were all just told not so long ago that ISIS was defeated. Couldn't be any more from the truth. ISIS is no more defeated as what it was when Obama was in office and when Bush Jr. was in office. ISIS is still in existence, and they're working now to grow big once again. I'm not saying they haven't been knocked back. Yeah, they had the hell knocked out of them thanks to Russia. They had the absolute hell knocked out of them. But they're going to rear their ugly heads again. And I'm not talking about just with the Christians. Yes, Christians, not Easter worshippers. Not just with the Christians in Sri Lanka. You're going to see them really rear their ugly heads soon enough. And you're going to see it happening in this country. How do I know that? How can I be so firm behind that? Well, because I've been paying attention. And because I don't easily forget things. Remember, it wasn't that long ago that Canada just welcomed white helmet refugees with open arms. Now, if you think that white helmets are really some goody two-shoe organization that's there to try to help out, I've got another thing for you. Right? I've got some bridges to sell you and all kinds of good stuff. Just give me your credit card number and we'll get to work on that. It's amazing how the white helmets were in so many places at so many times when so many acts of terror happened overseas. Okay, I don't think that they're going to stay up there in good old Connecticut. I think they're going to come down here. By the way, there's no disrespect for Canada. Just having fun. I don't think they're going to stay up there. They are going to come down here. I assure you they are going to come down here. And when they do, it's going to be insane. It is going to be insane. But anyway, let me go ahead and get you this video. Again, the channel is Beau of the Fifth Column. Go show him some love. This guy, you may not agree with all of his viewpoints, especially if you're conservative-minded. You're not going to agree with all of his viewpoints. I'm telling you that right now. But he's straight, and he tells you just how he sees it, and he uses as many facts as he can possibly muster to do so. I like him. I think he's a good man. Again, Beau of the Fifth Column. The video is titled, Let's Talk About Cassandra, 2 Videos, the Islamic State, and U.S. Intel.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Beau again. So tonight's going to be a little bit different. This is more like my therapy session, to be honest, because just like every other expert on political violence or counterterrorism in the world, I feel like I got Cassandra complex right now. If you're not familiar with it, Cassandra was a beautiful woman, daughter of the king of Troy, and well, Apollo loved her, and he gave her the gift of prophecy. When she rejected his advances, he said, well, you've got the gift of prophecy, but nobody's going to listen to you. And that's the way everybody in that field feels right about now. Because politicians and those in the establishment who stand to gain from defeating ISIS are still claiming ISIS is defeated when it's not. And that just makes them more dangerous. Baghdadi, the leader, he released a video today. Well, yesterday, by the time you're watching this. And the take coming out of the establishment circles was sickening. They saw what they wanted to see in it, not what was there. Now, on April 6th, I released a video, a toast to the defeat of ISIS. I suggest you go watch it. If you don't, I'll give you a synopsis. ISIS isn't dead. Using the land held by an insurgent organization that's really a terrorist organization at heart as a metric of determining their potency is stupid. It is stupid. Holding land requires resources, and when you take that away and they don't have to expend those resources to defend that land, well, then they can go on the offensive. Their leadership also disappears, blends away. They spread out, head into other areas of operation to begin work. The Islamic State has shown repeatedly that it can attack far, far beyond its footprint. And, then I discussed those that were killed after the president said the Islamic State was defeated. And then I discussed the rumor coming out of Iraq about attacks on churches. April 6th, before the Easter attacks. Now, there was a time when, I was up to speed on all of this, and I was really good. That was a long time ago. That was more than a decade ago. So my question, and the question everybody should be asking, and to be clear, I'm not the only person who pointed all of this out. Every political violence expert in the world that I saw comment on this said the exact same thing. But the question everybody should be asking is, if the has-been that's been out of that field of study for 10 years could list down to the letter what was going to happen, where was U.S. intelligence? What was the establishment doing? This was an utter failure of U.S. intelligence. Complete failure. And what they were doing, they were listening to signal intercepts and looking at satellite photos. That's what they were doing, because that's what it's all about now. That is what it is all about. And that technology, it's great for spying on you. Doesn't help with terrorism. Number one, doesn't provide intent. Doesn't let you know what they're going to do. A rumor coming out of Iraq, that lets you know what they're going to do. The $50 informant in Basra is worth more than that $50 million satellite. So that's one reason. It does not give you intent. It just lets you know what's happening. But by then it's too late. The other reason it doesn't help is that Baghdadi's smart. He doesn't use electronics. None of these guys do. And our policy is to kill terrorists when we catch them in the open, call in a drone. That's great, except for the fact that he's probably communicating with his organization via courier. Really, really hard to question somebody after a Hellfire missile hits them. See, the thing is, though, the U.S. establishment knows that Baghdadi is smart. They know he's smart because they had him in custody 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. He got interned at Camp Bucca, and they knew he was smart. They used him. Well, they thought they were using him. He was really using them. They shuttled him around to different prisons to help keep the peace. Now, in reality, he's building the Islamic State. we don't know why exactly he got released, but we do know that by 2010, he's running the Islamic State. That's what we know. And yeah, he just released that video, and the take coming out of Washington is that, well, he's so humble now because of this horrific defeat that he's suffered. And he's talking about these operatives he has in this country, in these various countries, as a way to show that they're still transnational. And then he had this great propaganda where he's handed these files that have the names of other countries on them. Yeah, maybe that's it. Or maybe the guy who doesn't use electronics just got you to give everybody his orders. Yeah, that video is very different. Baghdadi is a very boisterous man. And yeah, he's aged since the last time we saw him. But that doesn't change his personality. What's he doing in this video? Sitting, traditional Arab style. Looks familiar, doesn't it? Really does. Up against a wall, framed. Looks exactly like a bin Laden video, doesn't it? And right beside him, what's there? A cut-down AK. Exactly like the bin Laden videos. So what we can expect is a bunch of Al-Qaeda-style attacks. That's what we can expect in the future. Bombings, machine gun attacks, probably some more of the vehicles driving into crowds. That's what's coming. Where? Those countries that he listed are probably the base of operations, not the target. It could be the target, but that'd be pretty bold, even for him. My guess is that's where these guys are currently at training to conduct these attacks. Just a guess. And then those file folders, the people that he has fighting for him that aren't terrorist quality, they don't have that tradecraft training. They're just normal insurgents. And they now know where to go. It's listed on those file folders. That's where we're headed. That video showed intent. And the read coming out of Washington is that he's beat. Possibly the dumbest thing the President of the United States has done since he took office, and that's a long list to be at the top of, is declare the Islamic State defeated. Because now he's the underdog again. He doesn't have to stage any spectacular attacks. He did, but he doesn't have to anymore. Because you've lowered the expectations for him. You made him the underdog. It's jihad. Those foreign fighters, they're coming. They're coming to every country that was on one of those folders. And you guys, in your quest for propaganda to show him as being humble, drew attention to it. You made sure that everybody saw his orders. It might be time to step back from technology and start looking at intent again. Get some real human intelligence going on. Unless, of course, that's not really the goal anymore. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.
He makes so many good points in that video. So many good points. And I like how he brought up about all this technology is great for spying on you and I, but not so good in the real fight against things like terrorism. Very good points. You know, I can tell you right now, if there's something important that I need to talk to you about, it won't be over a phone, it won't be over the internet, it won't be on Facebook, it will be face to face. And guess what? When we take our walk to talk, we won't have any electronic devices on us. Neither of us. Plain and simple. I know, I've had conversations like that. If I need to talk to you about something, and I need to make 110% sure that you and I are the only ones that hear that conversation, it will be just you and I with no cell phones, no computers, nothing of the sort. And yeah, I know, there's still ways to skin that cat. But I just knocked their most common ways right out. You don't think that these people that are committing, are planning these acts of terror, you don't think that they know this stuff? I'm not a criminal. There's nothing I'm trying to get away with doing. So, if I know this and I'm not in that sphere, if you want to call it that, don't you think that they know this? I think it was a big mistake to declare him gone. I agree with Bo here. I think it was a huge, huge bumbling mistake. Because, well, I mean, like he says, you now made him the underdog, but beyond that, you also give them reason to prove otherwise. Do we really want that? I mean, or do we really want another 9/11? I mean, now, mind you, I know that, the story as we were told about 9/11 is not how it went down, okay? But you give them a bar to reach for, okay? And they don't have to do that, folks. I can bring up a few things, and I'm going to mention a couple of things, and I want to just say right up front, okay? I'm no mastermind. I'm not the only cat that could have thought about these kind of things, okay? But there's something that you and I need to discuss. It's something that is a very real threat to our country. The first thing I would have to ask you, what is the most important thing to an American? In reality, I know money's important, nice cars, nice houses, their ball games, I get that. But there's something that surpasses all of that. Or it damn well should. Children. So when's the last time that you've seen a school that's been secured? And I mean secured, not meaning the door's locked. I mean secured. I was dumbfounded back after Sandy Hook and all that went on, and they started passing laws in states and stuff about locking the front doors and putting cameras on the front doors so they could see. But then they got a glass door. What sense does that make? If somebody really has intent to harm children inside that school, I don't believe that they're going to be worried about breaking out a pane of glass. I don't think that's, I can't cause that kind of damage. I mean, we need to be real about this. I was screaming back then, if you want to secure schools, get rid of the damn glass doors. Put steel doors on them. I agree with the idea of locking the doors. I agree with the idea of having cameras. But then leaving glass doors, that is idiocy. Just because you can see who's there, just because you can have your phone in the hand and dial 911, doesn't mean that you're going to be able to stop that person from doing a hell of a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. Say the time it would take police to get on the premises. And then we got incidents that happen like down at Parkland or whatever in Florida. I think it's Parkland, where the officer was standing outside pissing in his pants, hiding behind a bush, as students were being mowed down. So if you want to leave your children's well-being and their safety into the hands of that, I can't stop you. But I bring this up because it's important. We are vulnerable in this country. And I'm not saying that things like that are a bad, I'm not saying that we should have to run around in fear and, I'm not saying that. Maybe if we didn't want to have to live in a world like that, maybe we need to stop killing innocent people abroad. That might be a good idea. right? Because if another country was over here killing our innocent children, bombing our innocent weddings, don't you think people here would be out for blood? I would sure the hell hope so. I would sure the hell hope so. Look at how people react here in the United States when an illegal immigrant kills a citizen. Now, bump that up a little bit to 100 people killed in a drone strike from a foreign country that's not even supposed to be here to begin with. How do you think that would make people feel? All this stuff is going to come to a head. What I'm doing is not fear-mongering. I'm just telling you common sense. I'm giving you a warning. And I believe that we're going to start seeing this stuff get kicked off this summer in a large scale. I really do. It would also be an opportune time for certain actors, quote unquote, like those in the Hillary regime, to act out and to commit acts like this. You know, one of Trump's things that people felt comfortable with putting him in office for was his strength. And I would agree. It was time that we had a strong president. I mean, this whole crap that we dealt with for 8 years with Obama and his weaknesses is no way to run a country. But you have to make sure that when you come out strong, you have to make sure that you can back that up. And to a point, yeah, we can. But to another point, we're just as vulnerable as we always were. We should be in a country to where we don't have to worry about those things, okay? But unfortunately, because our politicians and their leaders, the banks and the corporations, decided they wanted to take their greediness up a few levels, now we are looking at a different situation in this country, and we do have to watch our backs. I can't help it. All I can do is speak to it. Keep an eye out. I'm telling you, this summer, again, I named it the Summer of Terror. I don't want to have to make these reports. I don't want to have to talk about this kind of stuff. But I feel a responsibility to talk to you about it. Because I see it coming. I see it coming, not only from foreign actors, quote unquote, but also from domestic ones, because it would be a prime time for them to try to show that Trump is weak. I don't think he's weak, but if we've got a dozen terror attacks that happen across the nation, they sure could spin him off as being weak, could they not? As failing to protect you, which, by the way, nobody can protect you better than you. Okay? That's an illusion that we're given in this country, that police can protect you. No. The only one that is responsible for your personal safety and security is you. That's it. Nobody else. Nobody else. That's just a fact. And that's the most important reason why the Second Amendment is so important. So that you can do that very thing. So that you can protect yourself from enemies, both foreign and domestic. Or your crackhead neighbor, whichever comes first. Anyway, let me go ahead and read through the headlines. Just keep an eye on things, folks, and be prepared. Be prepared. Go through your preps. I know you're tired of hearing me say it. I'm tired of saying it. But a lot of people don't listen to me, including me. I don't listen to myself. Right? I need to still go back through and organize. I never have gotten it done yet. So yes, I'm going to keep pushing you because I need to keep pushing me as well. So anyway, let me read you some headlines and we'll go from there. Started out early this morning, increasing U.S. troop presence in Poland will violate the Russia-NATO Act, says Lavrov. Espionage inside the embassy. Assange accuses Ecuadorian diplomatic staff in London of spying. That's the video there we just watched. Too much money invested in war. U.S. defense industry drives global military spending spree. Charlottesville's Confederate statues protected by state as war memorials, says a court ruling. Rightfully so. Something needs to be done here. If you're offended by a statue, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. You know, I don't know what to tell you. It's a statue. It's a statue. You know what? I don't like the idea of them putting the satanic statues at the courthouses and stuff like that. But you know what? It doesn't offend me. Okay? It doesn't offend me. I don't like it. I'd rather it not be there. But I'm not offended by it. I won't melt. Okay? I won't melt. I just look at it for what it is. A bunch of frickin' idiots. Now, if you want to think of these people that are these statues are modeled after as idiots, that's fine. But expecting them to be taken down when they are part of history, a very important part of history, well, I don't know what to tell you, but you're feeding right in to what's going to be the demise of this country. Tulsi Gabbard takes on her own party over endless war in mysteriously deleted viral campaign clip. I'll tell you what, that was a good video. I watched it. That is an extremely good video. Fear in Sri Lanka Muslim communities after Easter bombings. Follower of Sri Lanka bombing mastermind detained for plotting terrorist attack in India. Telling you folks, we are going to see a rash of terror this summer. All over. But it's going to be coming here too. A man arrested, suspected explosives and ammo seized in Christchurch suburb, New Zealand. Make your own decisions, defy patriarchy. ISIS bride tells girls targeted by terrorist recruiters. Airbus gets chance to cash in as Boeing's second biggest client turns its back on troubled jets. Trump sues Deutsche Bank and Capital One over Democrat subpoenas for his financial records. You know, what they're doing with that is just as much BS as what we're doing in Venezuela. You know, stop. The people elected Trump. In fact, I think more people elected Trump than they'll ever let you know. The people elected him. Let him do what he's going to do, okay? If it's that horrible, if he's got something on tap that's, you know, just unacceptable, then we, the people, need to deal with it, okay? I don't think that's the case, personally, but we, the people, need to deal with it. Plain and simple, but let him try to get something done. Nobody even knows what the hell Trump intends on doing because nobody will let him do anything. It's messed up. F-35 project is bound to collapse without Turkey, says Erdogan. I don't quite know that I'd go that far. U.S.-backed Guaido calls for Venezuelan military uprising in video of him surrounded by soldiers. Russia considers measures to punish U.S. officials involved in Maria Butina's illegal detention. Venezuelan defense minister says army stands with President Maduro, denounces Guaido as traitor. Traitor troops stage coup attempt in Venezuela. California tap water could be source of thousands of new cancer cases, says a study. I would say that's probably true all over this country. We must be vigilant and united. Bolivia's president emerges in support of Maduro. Bolton calls on Venezuelan military to protect the Constitution by backing Guaido coup attempt. Now, how in the hell is that protecting their Constitution? How is that? That would be like Hillary staging a coup here and saying it was to protect the Constitution. This is just so screwed up and makes no sense. None at all. Yellow vests and black blocs. France braces for possible protest perfect storm on May 1st. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. Venezuela's Maduro says he has spoken with military leaders who have shown him total loyalty. Videos appear to show Venezuelan military clash make arrests after pro-Guaido group splits. Watch tear gas fired on highway near Caracas Air Base where Guaido appeared in video with soldiers. Maria Butina speaks to press for first time since detention in U.S. It would end in blood loss. Mexico and Cuba urge end to coup attempt in Venezuela. Media shouldn't serve as tools spreading fake news to escalate situation in Venezuela, says Moscow. I agree. Vehicle runs over protesters throwing stones at it in Caracas. Man contracts rare flesh-eating bacteria while on vacation in Florida. Let's see. There's a video of the vehicle. If you wanted to see it, it's not extremely graphic.
Es esa cúpula que lleva arriba. Mira, ahí vemos esa imagen que se repite.
Looks like
lamentándolo mucho.
It looked to me like maybe 3 people might have been actually ran over by it. I know 2. I specifically saw 2 people they were picking up, but possibly a third. A Venezuelan coup attempt directly planned in Washington, says the foreign minister. I guess the Venezuelan foreign minister. 1,800 trapped underground in South Africa platinum mine. A military vehicle runs over rioters in Caracas. I already read that. I don't know why I got it twice. Pro-Guaido bloc celebrates and encourages Venezuela coup attempt. Caracas warns they'd use weapons if needed as crowd of coup supporters flock to presidential palace. Now, I know there's a lot of people in the U.S. that'd be beating their chests going, oh, you can't do that, you can't. Okay, imagine a group of protesters trying to knock down the fence to the White House front lawn. Okay, what then? What then? If they were actually trying to breach the gates to the White House, would it be okay? Or do you think that we should have military firing on those people that are putting the president in direct harm's way? Always have to put ourselves in the shoes, or else we might miss something big. Bolton calls for regime change in Venezuela soon. Oops. We locked up IS fighters for your benefit. Europe now take them back, says Trump. Coup fizzles. Guaido's mentor seeks refuge in Chile's Venezuela embassy. I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think you're going to see a lot of people tuck tail and run here quick because their attempts are just completely fruitless. Turkey's Erdogan condemns Guaido-led Venezuela coup. And lastly here, Trump threatens Cuba with full embargo and highest level sanctions over Venezuela. So let's see, and that is it. Nothing more as far as headlines. So let me go ahead and close up the monologue. We'll continue on with the live show. If you're here for the live show, don't go anywhere, don't do anything. We'll be live till 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is just how I close the monologue portion up. If you're here just for the monologue or you're watching the recording thereof, thank you very much. As always, God bless you. We love you and be one with your spirit.